After Paramedic's wife died, Babysitter noticed something wasn't right. Stacy Hunsucker was a vibrant soul, a preschool teacher, a devoted stay-at-home mother, and a creative spirit who loved crafting. Her life revolved around her husband Joshua and their two beautiful daughters, Piper and Willow. Life seemed ordinary, filled with the everyday joys and challenges of raising a family. Her friend Shellie O'Day remembers their last normal encounter, a casual chat that now echoes with a haunting finality. Then, on September 23, 2018, everything changed. Stacy was gone. Her death was sudden, unexpected, and attributed to a heart attack. A tragedy that left her family and friends reeling in disbelief. Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. The 911 call painted a grim picture. Joshua frantically reported finding Stacy not breathing and blue. But something felt off. His reaction seemed subdued, detached from the raw grief one would expect. Adding to the unease was the refusal of an autopsy. Despite Stacy being a registered organ donor, Joshua declined, raising immediate red flags, but decision seemed inexplicable. Within 2 days, Stacy's body was cremated. The speed of the cremation further fueled suspicions. Then came the life insurance claim, a staggering $250,000. Stacy's mother, Susie Robinson, couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. She confided in investigators, revealing Joshua's affair. This revelation ignited a spark, prompting a deeper look into Stacy's death. Insurance investigators launched their own probe. They began to unravel inconsistencies and discrepancies in Joshua's story. His accounts of the moments leading up to Stacy's death were riddled with contradictions. First, he claimed he went for a walk. Then, he said he was cutting wood in the backyard. Finally, he stated he was working on his computer when he found Stacy slumped over. Which version was the truth? Investigators obtained a search warrant to analyze Stacy's blood sample. What they found was shocking. Elevated levels of tetrahydrozoline, the active ingredient in common eye drops, were present. Tetrahydrozoline is not meant to be ingested. Ingesting even a small amount can cause a range of symptoms, including cardiac arrest. The discovery was a bombshell. Could this seemingly innocuous substance have been the cause of Stacy's death? The evidence pointed to a sinister possibility. On December 19, 2019, Joshua Hunsucker was arrested. He was charged with first-degree murder and insurance fraud. The prosecutors believed Joshua had deliberately poisoned Stacy with eye drops over time. Joshua pleaded not guilty to all charges. He was released on a $1.5 million bail, leaving the community stunned and divided. How could this happen? The case was now set to go to trial, promising a long and arduous journey for everyone involved. The search for truth had only just begun. The Hunsuckers were pillars of their community. News of Joshua's arrest sent shockwaves through their tight-knit circle. He was described as someone no one would ever suspect of committing such a heinous crime. Joshua and Stacy were high school sweethearts. Their love story began years ago, culminating in a marriage in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in 2010. They seemed like the perfect couple. Stacy had worked as a teacher, a paralegal, and a devoted homemaker. Joshua had a respected career as a flight paramedic. They had built a life together, filled with friends, family, and apparent happiness. Beneath the surface of their seemingly idyllic life, the Hunsuckers faced their share of hardships. Stacy struggled with unspecified medical problems after the birth of their first daughter in 2013. These health issues cast a shadow over their lives. A fire at their home destroyed many of their belongings. They lost precious memories and faced the daunting task of rebuilding. The fire added another layer of stress to their already challenging situation. After the birth of their second daughter, Stacy was hospitalized for low blood pressure and heart rate. Her ongoing medical issues led to the implantation of a pacemaker. These health scares were a constant source of worry for the family. Colleagues observed that Joshua seemed unaffected by Stacy's death. His demeanor was strangely calm, lacking the profound grief one would expect. This detachment raised eyebrows and fueled suspicions. He quickly became involved with a new girlfriend. The speed with which he moved on was unsettling to those who knew him and Stacy. It seemed as though he was trying to erase Stacy from his life. Babysitter Kaylin McDonald noticed Joshua's constant attention to his new girlfriend. He was always on his phone, texting and making plans. He even talked about moving into a new house together. Kaylin also noted Joshua's lack of grief or mention of Stacy. It was as if Stacy had never existed. This behavior struck Kaylin as deeply disturbing. Relations between Joshua and Stacy's parents, Susie and John Robinson, grew increasingly tense. Grief and suspicion created a chasm between them. The family was torn apart by tragedy and mistrust. Stacy's parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Joshua. They sought justice for their daughter and answers to their lingering questions. The lawsuit further strained the already fractured family dynamic. A custody battle ensued for Piper and Willow. The children became pawns in a bitter legal fight. Their lives were disrupted by the ongoing conflict. Joshua allegedly engaged in a pattern of harassment towards Stacy's parents. He recorded and photographed them at lacrosse practices. He made vulgar gestures in public. He even hung out in their church's parking lot. Joshua reported being pistol-whipped and injected with an unknown chemical. He claimed John Robinson was responsible for the attack, but there was no evidence to support his claim. Prosecutors believed Joshua faked the kidnapping to implicate Stacy's parents. They alleged he was trying to frame them to gain full custody of his daughters. The alleged scheme was elaborate and chilling. Joshua allegedly attempted to poison his daughter Piper with the same substance that killed Stacy. The motive, prosecutors argued, was to further implicate Stacy's parents and remove them from the children's lives. This accusation was particularly disturbing. A depression medication was discovered in Piper's system and in Joshua's truck. The discovery added another layer of complexity to the case. It raised even more questions about Joshua's motives and actions. Joshua was rearrested on August 6, 2024. He now faces charges of witness intimidation and obstruction of justice. The legal battle continues to unfold. Joshua is currently awaiting trial at the Gaston County Jail, but trial promises to be a long and emotionally charged affair. The truth remains elusive. Stacy's loved ones are left with profound sadness and confusion. They struggle to understand how this could have happened. They mourn the loss of a kind and loving person. Philip Smith describes Stacy as a kind and loving person. Her memory lives on in the hearts of those who knew and loved her. But the questions surrounding her death continue to haunt them. The search for justice continues.